Let's listen to what the president said about what's going on in the country in as far as management of national affairs. Former president.
Mambo ya kuogopa iliisha bana. Watu tumetishwa, tumeambiwa nini, tumeambiwa sijui nini, kila saa mtu akishindwa njia ya kufanya kitu yake. Sijui serikali iliyopita. Tumezoea tu, tunayasikia inaingia na inapita na tunaendelea. Kama ni namna gani? Sasa kesho yake mtasema hata watoto wakikataa ama mama akikataa kuzaa, unajua Uhuru. Sasa mimi sijui, lakini ndio watu, mimi ni mwana Azimio. Mimi sio mtapeli wa kuruka huku na kuruka huku. Sijui ati leo iko hivi, leo iko hivi. Mimi nikitoa msimamo wangu, nitakana msimamo wangu.
All right, so he's talking about the running of the country and what the president and the government have been saying that they inherited such a serious situation, and we'll be listening to the president shortly from now. But Honorable Elachi, I know you want to say something about party elections, but also moving into this conversation where former President Uhuru Kenyatta has now to come out and tell the government deal with your issues, stop heaping blame on his administration or his previous administration. What is this? Why does he feel so pressed to speak about it now?
When you start saying why does he feel pressed, I don't know. But then, let me start with party politics and the elections, and to appreciate that each party has their own way of how they believe in their regulations and how they want to do their elections. And so if you talk of ODM, I definitely, the constitution of ODM allows you to go through a system where you can pick the best if you want. That's their party process. So you cannot say it is wrong or right. It is within their constitution, and they follow it to the latter the way they want. But more importantly, I know even on Friday we shall be launching in Nairobi so that we start also recruiting members and registering. So as the party, the UDA does it, all parties will do, because I think it is important to keep your register clean with the Register of Political Parties, and just follow those guidelines.
Right. What
we are saying, and what I think Prime Minister was very clear within the party now, he said he doesn't want early campaigns. He wants us first to leave those who are elected to try and work the way he would wish, especially the governors. I believe he's really worried. He wants to see counties are performing. And especially, we would want to see Azimio counties performing also. So that was one thing. In terms of...
Azimio counties or counties led by Azimio governors?
Well, counties, well, they are both Azimio counties. Even Nairobi is an Azimio county anyway.
Is that so?
Oh, yeah, it is. It is.
What does that mean?
It means more members, people in Nairobi believe in ODM. Let me talk of ODM. I don't know even why I've brought in that thing of Azimio. ODM. ODM people are within Nairobi. We are the majority, and that's why we normally take more of the seats in Nairobi. But the good thing with us in Nairobi, we work across board. We don't look at, we just work and work for the people. And that is why we also always push the governor, work for the people. Focus and deliver for the people of Nairobi.
All right.
Because when they wake up in the morning, they know there's a governor. They don't want to know where. They just know there's a governor and the governor must perform. There's a member of parliament, she must or he must perform. That should be the spirit of all the counties. The other thing now, coming to what the former president has said, and as I finished, just tell my friend and my very good friend, Koech, the day you said shares is the day people ran away. Shares. People realized you need shares to sit on any table. They went and decided to become regional. And I'm telling you, you will see. As much as you will want to see UDA and all the things you're talking, in the end, all regions will have a party, regardless of now. But in the because they know they have to come and sit down with shares, wherever they will sit, whether it will be on where, but they have realized you must first protect your region so that when you are coming on the table with your region, then people can respect you and people can say, yes, 1, 2, 3.
But so, he says they're waiting on ANC and Ford Kenya.
Well, that's why I've just told him it won't work. They have gone regional, they will remain with those regional parties. In fact, the best thing that can happen is just appreciate this multipartyism and then just leave. People will come in. Those who believe in the ideology of UDA will come. Those who believe in the ideology of Ford Kenya, of ANC, of ODM, they will do their stuff.
All right.
In the end, you will come and have this, because Kenyans, by the way, like a hybrid. In this country, Kenyans don't like this thing, especially now the way we have pushed them to where they are. If you tell them issues of these things of party, one party that is strong, they cannot believe in it. Because they want to see now people who can fight when things are not going right, who can say the truth when things are not going right. For His Excellency, the former president, I think he has his right to say what he wants to say. For me, this is what I'll tell the government, that don't focus on what is ailing Kenya. Mm-hmm. If you want to focus on all these stories that come in, and that is why we have told Baba, and I keep on telling Baba, Baba, you have done everything for Kenya. For now, you have no business, not really have no business. Yes, you have business, but leave them to sort it out, because they say they know how to sort it out the best. So leave it and let them sort it out. If Baba comes out now, trust me, he will be blamed of everything else. So Baba, do not even dare. Whether leave it. They said they know it better, they want to do it better, leave it that way.
Okay.
And you will come in as an advisor at the right time. And I just want to say, we are joking with Kenya, and God is going to hit us so hard. All of us who are in leadership, both sides, God is going to punish us, and we will find ourselves now asking ourselves, can we sit on the table? So even when I see them saying the national dialogue talks can go, let me tell you, if you want to finish Kenya, try and not bring us something that can cool this country and make things work. It's when you will know Kenya is hot and it is just breathing. It is awaiting for the balloon to burst, and they are wondering how can it burst. Wait. So both leaders who are doing that national dialogue must give us results, but not to start now telling us in rallies the way I saw my friend Majority Leader Senate talking somewhere. I've seen my principal Kalonzo. I want to tell them that is why you were given this balloon. You were told, go and cool it down, make it work, come out and give Kenyans hope. Okay. Not when they are just sinking, is when you want to sink us more.
Let's listen to what the president said about critics of the administration.
Our friends on the other side had better be ashamed of what they are saying, because we are simply cleaning their dirt. So
soon.
Now, Martin,
yes.
Honorable Elachi has been responding in real time, but Martin, tell me, so when you hear a former president having to come out, and the president, the sitting president, still believes that we are where we are because of the mistakes of the previous regime, and there are several things they've been trying to do, but Kenyans are reacting and saying, no, it is too much now, and you'll be getting to the conversational field to just illustrate that. What are you thinking watching this?
Allow me to first of all start with the issue of the party politics,
okay,
and say that it is commendable that at the very least parties in Kenya are trying to attempt to do something similar to party elections, because we know how it should be conducted.
Have you seen an attempt, really? What attempt?
I've seen when they say that they want to do that, when ODM has been doing that, it doesn't matter how good or how bad it has been, but what we must appreciate as optimists in this country is that we are headed towards the right direction if it is done the way it should be done. And that is to say, this is something that should be encouraged in a multi-party democracy, and people should be encouraged to do that, because it's only through party politics that we are likely to see effective governance. When you talk about what the previous regime head is talking about and what the current regime head is talking about, both are right. Remember, politics is a game of interest, and it's a game of persuasion. So from where I sit, everyone wants to persuade the other that I am good, you are bad. Or rather, I am better than what you are saying I am. So from where I sit as a representative of Wanjiko who deals with fuel, that happens to be my constituency for the purpose of this debate, is that we cannot forget where we are coming from for us to know where we are going. But then again, we cannot dwell too much on the past, such that we are unable now to really focus. If you ask me what we should do right now, is that we document. It is very important to document the dirt that the president is trying to clean, and say that it is true, this is where we are coming from, this is what we found, and this is the mess that there has been. But having said that, then again, we now start to accentuate the debate of rebuilding. We accentuate the debate of hope, that in as much as we are coming from there, these are the milestones we are building from where we found. And it is true that the previous regime had its good things and it had its ills. And every other regime, including the one we have, will, at the end of the day, will have its good things and its ills. So for us, with the Wanjiko, what we want to see is a debate of hope. The party who's talking, especially the guys who are talking at Bomas, what we are looking from them is a debate of hope. Remember, we are living in a time where the cost of living is very high, astronomical. It is not the doing of the regime we have today, neither can it really 100% be blamed on the regime that is past. It is part and parcel as a result of the geopolitics that is happening across the world, because everywhere people are crying. But what do the Mwananchi need? It is even when we are suffering, even when things are bad, we want to see debates of hope. We want to see people who are telling us that things are going to be all right because we are doing A, B, C, D.
Okay, debate is good, talk is good, but do you see actions that are geared towards addressing the situation?
And that's precisely what I'm coming to, that those debates now must be matched with actions that are going towards that. I have seen some that I think are good, because today I have seen that from the efforts of the farmers, and good Lord has given us rains, we have seen a substantial drop in terms of our staple food, that is unga. That is a very good debate. We have another debate that ought to go on. That is, how do we get money in the pockets of the common Mwananchi? Because it doesn't matter how things...
have you seen effort towards that?
I've seen what you call mikakati in Kiswahili, but in terms of them bearing fruits, I have not seen as I would have wanted.
Because the complaint has been that instead of seeing pesa mfukoni, inaendelea kutoka.
Pesa inaendelea kutoka, and it is true inaendelea kutoka because of what we are calling the standard of living. But what we do and what you look at, you don't look at it in isolation. You look, why is it pesa inatoka? When you look at why is it pesa inatoka, is only then that you can appreciate whether inatoka kwa vizuri ama inatoka kwa vibaya.
What is your answer to that? What inatoka?
My answer is, I have been convinced and I've been persuaded so that the things that the government is doing towards getting us money, or rather getting money in the pockets of the Mwananchi, are wrong hole. They may take a year or so. But now the problem is, I am not able to wait nikiwa hungry today for me to eat next week. Next week might not find me. So I'm asking for us to look at ways and means that we can satisfy in the meantime. You know, even when you're cooking chapatis, there's that kadogo yenye upikwa unapewa kwanza ukulage as you wait for the other. Because that is what is ailing most of the debates that we have today in the country in terms of economic recovery and such.
Okay, small chapati. Honorable Koech, so the president feels you have dwelled so much on blaming the previous administration, which fair to say that the president now was part of up to when he took over as president. What do you say to that?
Former President Uhuru Kenyatta should shut up. Like the president did say, we're cleaning his mess. Let me tell you some. I'm looking at even the supplementary budget. Can you imagine we are still paying debts? We are still paying for the indiscipline of last regime. Kenyans should ask, and that is why, and if you see people coming out panickingly, there is something that is happening. Honorable Ichung'wah promised that in this coming week he's going to table the State Capture Commission. That is why people are coming out of their hiding. People want to speak out. People want to somehow blackmail Kenyans. Every mess in this country is synonymous. Every mess we are suffering now is synonymous with the last administration. We have to mention it. People must know why as a Kenyan am I paying for a debt that I don't know? Can we know what we are paying for? Are we really paying for that, or we are paying for something else? That is why people are demanding. In every 10 shillings that is collected in this country, 8 shillings goes to repaying our debts. Why was there such fiscal indiscipline in this country? Who sanctioned that indiscipline? Why are we paying for the sins of others? Every Kenyan has now an opportunity to find out from a State Capture Commission what exactly happened. I'm telling you, if it is going to be exposed, we took expensive loans. Extremely expensive loans to finance our living. We lived large. We lived on borrowed time. That money, we want to know if it preceded family interests more than the interests of this country.
Please explain that.
Okay.
That we took expensive loans to finance our living.
Yes.
Also.
We borrowed. I mean, Uhuru, Kibaki left us with a debt of 1 trillion. Today, we have a debt more than 9-point-something trillion, almost 10 trillion of a debt. When Uhuru Kenyatta handed over the government to William Samoei Ruto, we have debts in tunes of 9.8 or so trillion. Why so? Kenyans must know what is it that we took the loan for, what are we paying for? It is a constitutional right of every Kenyan to know. And that is why I totally support this State Capture Commission. It will unveil the people who have stolen from the people of this country. It happened in South Africa. We had the Zondo Commission in South Africa that looked at the fraud and state capture in South Africa. We want it in Kenya. And that is why many people are now becoming uncomfortable and jittery and coming out. There is no way Uhuru Kenyatta will not be blamed for the failures of this country. We went on an unnecessary borrowing. People made money. Can you imagine, even in this own supplementary budget one,
just hold on.
We are still paying for fuel subsidy.
Just hold on. You're wrong on the numbers. The president took over power September last year at 8.6 trillion shillings, according to the Central Bank of Kenya.
8.9 trillion.
I'm saying according to Central Bank of Kenya, it was 8.
I am using IMF report.
Okay, so can I just tell you?
You must also remember that even the central bank governor has come out to say we had an artificial management of our fiscal space. Be very careful on what you read from what you get from Central.
You want me to not quote Central Bank of Kenya or what?
No, I'm saying even Central Bank itself has come out to say we lived on an artificial fiscal space in that period.
So let me tell you what Central Bank of Kenya says.
Okay.
You can give me your comments. So when in September, it was 8.6 trillion shillings.
How much did we inherit?
As of August this year, according to the same Central Bank of Kenya, it was 10.4 trillion shillings. So that's a difference of about 1.8 trillion shillings. If you have different figures, I'll be glad to hear them from you. But then I want you to explain again what expensive loans to finance our living. You've cited fuel subsidy, which is clear.
And commercial loans.
Finance what living? That's what I'm asking.
To find all the projects that were done was simply taking expensive commercial loan because people are making money. You find expensive infrastructural costs. You've seen a road in northern Kenya that is being swept by flood. It was financed from loans. A road that you can see the layer was so thin to be financed. We have transmission. EACC is already on the radar of rural electrification, a program that was being financed, but a lot of money has been lost in the process. Yet we don't have the spread of electricity that we were expected. There are so many things that were largely financed by loans. It's living large on loans, on borrowed money, on borrowed time, and that is why we are in this problem. Okay. So as a country, we have a responsibility, even as leaders, to tell our people why are we suffering. And William Ruto has been candid enough. He will have come in and say, fine, let me continue borrowing until this country collapses. But he has taken a bold step. He's not looking for popularity at this time. As a country, as a leader, he has said it is perfectly okay. You can accuse me of everything, but first of all, let me steer this country back to its trails. We are not going to default on our Eurobond. He announced that on the State of the Nation address. That is very important. That is more than $500 billion. Our neighbors are renegotiating. Countries are renegotiating their loans. In fact, Ethiopia is almost defaulting on a loan. And many other countries. Malawi has stopped travel for everyone. Countries within the region, not more than 6, are suffering from the consequences of an unnecessary expenditure and borrowing by leaders of yesteryears. For Uhuru Kenyatta to come out boldly yesterday and say, don't blame me, then he needs to be very careful on the statements that he makes. We are hurting because of him. He is a president we will want to forget. Let him go and sit where he is. And he should not come out and remind Kenyans of who he was. Because right now, this suffering that Kenyans are, and people are clapping when Uhuru Kenyatta is telling them that, yet he is the one who masterminds singularly, successfully, the failure of this country. So we cannot allow that to continue. We want him to retire.
Just hold on. Honorable Koech,
as a retired president.
You've spoken quite eloquently. Has the current administration borrowed any money?
There is no country that doesn't borrow. I am saying we were reckless in our borrowing. We were irresponsible in our borrowing.
According to you, how much has the administration borrowed?
I don't know how much the administration has borrowed now. I've just seen that IMF is going to give us some small loan. We're also going to find a way of repaying our loan, Eurobond debt in July this year. And I'm sure,
how much is that?
I'm not sure about the exact amount that we borrowed.
So I am telling you, and I made a mistake. I said 8.6 trillion in September 2022. It should be 8.3.
There's nothing wrong with borrowing, sir.
Just hold on. Okay. Can I just make progress?
Okay.
September 2022 was 8.7 trillion, according to the Central Bank of Kenya.
Yes.
According to the same Central Bank of Kenya, it is 10.4 trillion shillings. Do you have different figures?
I don't have different figures. It is perfectly okay. But is the borrowing reckless? Have we tamed our borrowing, is the question. I can tell you from where I said that we've tamed our borrowing. We have been very responsible. That is why there's an appetite for this country. That is why we still get loans. No one loans you if you are broke. No one loans you if you cannot repay. But I mean, investors can see that there is a hope and future in this country.
The borrowing has been responsible?
Borrowing has been responsible.
Do you reckon that it's outside the ceiling?
It is not out as a ceiling. You have to, I mean...
The ceiling is 10 trillion and should...
You need an approval. You need an approval.
It should start to June 2024.
You need an approval. You need an approval of Parliament, first of all, if you're going to hit above the ceiling. From what I see, and we've just done the supplementary budget, we're still within our means. And that is why...
You're not. I am telling you...
Why then do we still get money from IMF?
You tell me, you sit in Parliament.
So, I mean, these are lending institutions have an appetite to still continue lending.
I want to listen to the Senator, but the Control of Budget said that as of June 2023, you had borrowed up to 10.25 trillion shillings. Not you as a person, but as a country. The Central Bank of Kenya is reporting 10.4 trillion shillings as of August 2023. The ceiling should be 10 trillion shillings by June 2024. That is outside ceiling. Is that responsible borrowing?
That is why I'm saying Kenyans should be able to question, why are we borrowing? What are we doing for? And I can tell you from where I say...
Is it responsible for a government to borrow outside the ceiling that
if we are
approved by Parliament?
If we are borrowing to realign our debts, if we are borrowing to settle certain debts that are time-bound, like the Eurobond, it is okay to borrow.
Then why have a ceiling?
Okay? So that, I'm not sure. I mean, you're telling me now, which I have to counter-check as you give my colleagues, so that I can respond. But just to conclude on my point.
No, you won't. Finish. Check, clarify what I'm asking you, because I'll get an answer from you. Senator, tell me, so with all this blame game, the person suffering is the Kenyan. And Martin tried to explain here about some of the interventions that have been put in place. So What shall Kenyans do if the former administration says deal with your issues? The current administration says we're clearing your mess, you should shut up. End of quote.
Well, Sam, first of all, I must tell you that I was in that event in Mwingi yesterday with the former President Uhuru Kenyatta, Kalonzo and others. And I think it's very unfortunate, extremely unfortunate, for Kenya Kwanza to blame Uhuru Kenyatta on virtually everything. The current president, me and you know that he served as the deputy president for 10 years. He sat in the cabinet that approved those loans. Every other decision, he was part of it. He was all over the country launching projects as the deputy president. And now he can't come and appear like he's just an angel from heaven who has come and saying, we have a problem here. If we have any mess that was created by the former regime, then the current president is equally to blame for that mess. And in any case, the Kenya Kwanza regime has even put us in a bigger mess. Everything they touch is a mess. When Honorable Koech talks about irresponsible borrowing, this government, in the 9 months they were in power, they borrowed 1.2 trillion shillings. Only 9 months, 1.2 trillion shillings. This money they are talking about Uhuru having borrowed, Uhuru borrowed that money in 10 years. They borrowed 1.2 trillion in 9 months. So if you do simple mathematics, it tells you how much are they going to borrow in the next 4 years.
No part of that is as a result of the fluctuation of the Kenya shilling versus the dollar.
Pardon?
I'm saying part of that difference is taken care of by the fluctuation between the Kenya shilling and the dollar.
Yeah, but it's still alone. It's in government books. It is 1.2 trillion shillings in 9 months. So really, when they talk about the mess, can they simply tell us where is the mess and how are they going to fix the mess? Because nothing is happening in this government. Uhuru borrowed to finance infrastructure. Under this government, all infrastructures have stopped. There is no road being constructed now. There is nothing that is happening in this government. They have increased taxes, and we know that no economy has grown with increased taxation. So when they keep on talking about Uhuru mess, even the other day I saw Murkomen blaming a leaking roof at the airport.
Yes.
On Uhuru.
Yes.
Just a leaking roof that can be fixed easily. You are blaming it on a government that left more than 13 months ago? Really? So really, these guys in government must just focus. When Kibaki took over from Moi, we had a lot of problems, worse than what we saw under Uhuru. And Kibaki never talked about Moi. He told us, I'm giving you free education, primary education. He gave us free primary education. He told us that I'm going to ensure that we have enough money for Kenyans to borrow from banks. In a short time, banks were looking for people to take loans in their offices, in their houses. He never focused on what Moi did. So we are simply asking our brothers on the other side that leave Uhuru out of this. Focus. And no economy can grow through propaganda. They keep on talking about we are doing this, but everything they touch is a mess. Hustler Fund is a scam.
Well,
Housing Fund.
What do you mean it's a scam?
It's a scam.
How so?
If you have a lot of money that people have defaulted under Hustler scheme, then that is a scam.
What is the default rate, Senator?
Default rate is very high. I don't have the figures here.
So how can you know that it's a scam because of default?
I don't have the figures, but if you give me a few minutes, I'll give you the figures shortly. It is a scam. Housing thing is a scam.
Senator, okay, housing is a scam. How so?
It's a scam.
How so?
Yes.
How?
It's a scam.
No, don't just say it's a scam. Why?
Yeah, it is easy
let me tell you, one of their senators, Senator for Marsabit,
that's gossip now,
who is a businessman, a serious businessman, came to the Senate and said this is a scam. That how can government give free land to to investors to put housing at only 90 to 10 arrangement, 90% to 10% arrangement. That is a scam. Who are these contractors who are doing these jobs?
No,
have you asked yourself that question?
Said housing levy is a scam. No?
No, I'm saying the housing project, affordable housing project, is a scam. That is being supposed to be financed by the housing tax. Best thing they can do is to sit down, focus, work for Kenyans, and stop taking Kenyans in circles and blaming Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, I saw him yesterday. The guy is very relaxed. In fact, the guy is he has grown big because he's very relaxed. Because of our taxes. He did his job and he went. Do your job and go, and Kenyans will appreciate. Kenyans are now suffering. People are unable to put food on the table.
All right, Senator.
But when we expect the government to give us solutions, they tell us about Uhuru Kenyatta who left more than 13 months ago.
You owe me some clarification on the Hustler Fund being a scam. Honorable Koech owes me something also to clarify. Yeah. And I want us to transition and bring on board Honorable Elachi and Martin here. And that is to do with what has been happening towards the end of last week. Raila Odinga has claimed that the government-to-government deal is a scam. President Ruto says nothing like that. In fact,